What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you on ChargePoint, I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company, and where the bottom might be. Before I get into any of that though, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So today it did go down 1.07%, a new 52-week and all-time low of $2.76. Rather low for volume, so 17.3 million shares being traded, 26.7 is the average. As of late, there was no news today, so no SEC filings, no press releases. The last news being October the 19th, and that was this. So ChargePoint ramps up on production of Tesla-compatible NACS EV chargers. So in reality, I think this is good operationally, but at the same time, this single-handedly is why ChargePoint has been going down, because of the huge amount of future expenses that this upgrade was going to be doing. And so they basically signaled this in Q2. Ever since they did that, that is what kickstarted off this massive downtrend. And right now it is a little bit more of a falling knife. It's kind of following the technicals a little bit, going faster than I would have anticipated, but nonetheless, it is following the technicals. So going over here, it does say over the next couple months, they are going to be doing a lot of these upgrades. So similar to my last video, I did say that Q1 2024, in my opinion, is where most likely things will get better for ChargePoint. And there has been a lot of volatility as of late, but like I said, it has been kind of following the technical. So I'll give you an overview of everything, starting off with options. Today, there was $1.56 million in calls being purchased versus 391,000 in puts. So if you kind of compare this with the last several days, definitely a lot more optimism. So overall, over the last 7 days, $27 million in calls being purchased versus 12 in puts. So clearly, a lot of people see ChargePoint at a pretty good discount, in my opinion, of course, not a financial advisor. And when it comes to the open interest on the call options, it is anticipated to be between the 3 and 350 range. And if you are negative, looking at the puts, it is anticipated to be below that $2.50 mark. And oddly enough, there is quite a lot in open interest, 27,000 in fact. So that's kind of a very big outlier based on that. And even November the 17th, there's around 73,000 in open interest. So people are anticipating for it to go down and continue to break down. So obviously, like I said, what I'm going to be saying where the actual bottom might be kind of contradicts this a little bit. And when it comes down to shorts, I'll give you an overview of what they are doing because they've, like I said, have been ingrained in ChargePoint very significantly. Short score is 81, utilization is 80.02. And as I've said in the past, I'm only bringing this up as a benchmark, not here to say that it's going to be a squeeze. So just be aware of that. But 18.65% of the free float is being shorted, 60.63 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is 7.81%. And through the interactive broker short availability, it does indicate that there's around 1.5 million shares available to be shorted. And so today they did return around about 3.5 million shares. So the way I interpret this information, by them returning that amount of shares, which is pretty significant on it being a red day, that does show that they do see that this is an overreaction and potentially should be going up from here. So once again, it's kind of orienting themselves around the technicals a little bit, but even how fast this has been hit. So I do feel that based on a lot of the expenses, this downtrend has been justified to some regard. I think this downtrend has been a little bit too escalated though. It probably should have been spaced out over like a 2 or 3 quarter span. So once again, it kind of has gone down very, very fast. But if you look at a lot of the metrics now, so at the PS ratio, it does show 1.8, which is crazy cheap. And that's something that I think a lot of people are starting to take notice of. And of course, it kind of matches with the higher volume over the last week as well. So I think bigger institutions are loading up, and the way they kind of work is once they have actually taken a position in a stock, then a week later, that is where usually the analyst gives a rating. And then they shout saying, hey, you know what, this is a buy, and we'll give like a $5 or $6 price target. As messed up as that is, but that's typically the kind of scenario. So I think the writing on the wall is institutions are truly buying. And even the future for the PS ratio is 1.4. So I think this does match with a lot of the data points and the technical technicals, all to signal that the bottom is very, very close. And so when it comes down to the technicals, let's look at that. So with it at $2.77, it is between this S2 and this S1. So like I've said, I think almost 3 times, been like a damn parrot, but the technicals have been kind of the bread and butter for the most part for ChargePoint. So it did land exactly on this S2. So $2.75 is a very strong support. Do I think it's going to hold? Probably not, as bad as that sounds, but that kind of leads me to where I feel the bottom might be, and that will be around the $2.50, so $2.48. And typically whenever there's a very strong support, there's kind of people that want to buy right above it. So whether it actually touches the $2.50, I'm not really sure. Most likely it'll be right above that, but I do feel that might be potentially the bottom, and that might occur over the next couple of weeks. So like I said, I think 2024 onwards, definitely bigger and better things might be coming to ChargePoint. And as it stands right now, $2.91 is a very strong resistance, because can you imagine, like almost to June, so a couple months ago, this was at $9. And even if we zoom out, like this was at $17, and there was a pretty significant amount of volume. So people did see that at that price was a very good buying opportunity. And even if we continue to zoom out, this was very, very high. These probably not so much in 2021, that was just overinflated, but I feel in reality, 2023 prices are kind of realistic. So even the $12 range, which was in February. And I've been covering ChargePoint for a while now, even though majority of the time the technicals look kind of bad, with exception of right now. So like I said, I do feel that the bottom is going to be coming very, very soon. But again, it all depends on what happens on a larger scale. This week, there's a lot of big heavy hitters for earnings, and I think inflation does still need to continue to go down a little bit more. But as I said, if you do believe in ChargePoint bigger picture, take advantage of these discounted prices, whether it be at this price you buy or $2.50. I think by mid 2024, it should be at least 2 or 3 times higher than this. But of course, that's just a speculation. With all that said, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing, even though ChargePoint goes up, down, sideways, all over the place, take advantage of these promos for some free shares. So sign up for an account with Moon, we throw $100 at it and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this promo, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.